All right, and Crack, we've in the past we explored some of Crack's top five. We did your top five movies, your TV shows. I think we did bands one time. For this week, I thought maybe we could make this a little more of an educational top five, and you could share with us because clearly we know I need it. Your top five money management rules. Can you shed some light on that for us?
Sure. You know, a lot of people, they dream to become a professional sports bettor and not to punch a clock or have a boss. And I'm here to tell you that literally upwards of 99% fail. It's that simple. But I'm going to give you a couple simple rules to follow and help you move in the right direction anyway. And I always say to people to start just like I did. I was working two jobs back in the early 90s, and I started just sampling little sports betting things myself. And I met someone who changed my life, like I've said previously. So you start out small. I was still working two jobs. I was trying to make money betting sports. When I had enough of bankroll, I quit one of the jobs, and eventually I quit both jobs. So all right, number one, always have that allotted bankroll specifically for sports betting. This is literally put aside to build up a bankroll with. And then you can do a monthly evaluation, check your bankroll, write out your bad habits that cost you money. So just make sure that bankroll is allotted just for that. It's not for paying any bills. It's not for going out to eat even. It's just your sports betting / gambling bankroll.
And then is that, I don't mean to cut you up.
No, please do.
Is that something you would add to? Like, so you'd start with, let's say it's $500.
Yep.
Would you still add to that bankroll above and beyond if you're winning? Obviously, if you're winning, it's going to add to it, right? And do all of the winnings stay in that bankroll?
Oh, definitely, because now your goal is to bet more on each game, and that gets to my number two. So good question. Number two, you never bet more than, I always say 2%, but you can even go up to 3% of your bankroll, depending on what sport it is. So never really bet against above that 3% on any one event. So that's an example. If you have a $10,000 bankroll, I know it's a big starting bankroll, but if you have a $10,000 allotted bankroll for sports betting, your biggest bet should be $300, plain and simple. Now, as you say, as your bankroll increases, that means your bet size is going to increase. So when it gets to 20,000, you're betting 600 a game. So you want to get to a level where you're comfortable to actually one day take some money out of that bankroll, but you want to make sure for your other things, almost make it into a salary for yourself or whatever it may be, and you pay taxes on sports betting gambling wins. So that's what you want to do. Good question.
And then let me ask you this: so 3% of your bankroll. So let's use the 10,000. You'd bet 300 a game. Is there a cap to how many games someone should be betting? So like could you bet every single game on the NFL on an NFL Sunday as long as it's just $300 and
you're not going to bet NFL Sunday if you follow me, that's for sure, because I don't even bet NFL Sundays. That's for the public, that's for the squares, that's for the suckers. But as far as college basketball goes, I like to give out 2 or 3 games a day on a busy day, but I'll bet 10, 20, 30 games, depending on the card, especially on a Saturday, I'm talking about. And you know what, people, the old school way of thinking was, oh man, this guy bets all these games. How can he win? You're betting all these games laying 11 to 10. Well, I'll tell you right now, it's not the way I look at it. It's not the way any sharp guy looks at it. The more volume that goes through the window, I have an advantage on this stuff. So the more volume that goes through the window, it becomes an X factor. That X factor becomes so much money. You can't get so much money down. You can't get 10,000 a game down. I mean, I could, but I understand you guys, working with bankroll restrictions. So you actually want to spread it out, and you actually want to spread it out amongst all my games or all your games, whatever it may be. And, because you're going to get some variance in there. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So you're going to get some variance that comes in there, and you want to be able to handle those bankroll swings of variance. In the end, the more volume, the more money you're going to make.
And you may not necessarily bet the entire 3%, right?
No, some things are 1%. Okay. Oh yeah, I have 1%, 2%. Yeah. So again, going into number 3 now here. Most of the bets that you should have an edge. You compare what numbers you're getting to the closing number at the sharper sports books. If you're beating the closing number the majority of the time, then you're definitely on the right track. Now, listen, there's a lot of manipulation out there too. So again, you have to know when you're being manipulated or not. You have to know the indicators in the market. So one thing good about Bill Krackomberger, I definitely have them all covered.
When you say manipulator, can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. Overnight, if I want, let's say I have a team like, I'll use some major public teams, which, by the way, I really don't bet a lot of major public. You won't see me betting Michigan's, Dukes, and you won't see me betting those big teams like that too often. Anyway, let's just use an old-fashioned giant rivalry, Duke UNC. So overnight, let's say one of these syndicate groups, and when I say syndicate, sports betting syndicate groups, their side of the game they want is UNC, plus 2 points. Well, overnight, when you can only bet smaller amounts of money, but at the key sports books, that same syndicate that wants UNC plus 2 may actually bet Duke minus the 2, and all the other sports books will copy. And because you're only betting 2 or 3 sports books that control the market, everyone else copies off them. Nobody has in-house bookmakers. Circa does here in Vegas, but no one else does as far as college basketball. I shouldn't say that. Westgate does some stuff too. But so the syndicate group will actually bet the Duke minus the 2 overnight. The game will go to 3 everywhere, copied as 3 everywhere. And 6 a.m. in the morning, that same syndicate that laid the 2 for a grand or 2 will come back in the other way and take 20,000 plus 3 or something like that. So that's manipulating the market. It happens every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what's number 4?
Number 4, this is an important one, and this really crosses any kind of gambling. Never chase or overbet your losses. This is probably the number one reason why people fail trying to become a professional sports bettor. But I'll also use this as in casino too. I play some video poker, and I play advantage deals. They had a 20-time point deal recently. And, once the deal's over, let's say it's 4 to 6 p.m. Well, when 6 p.m. comes around, it's hard. The deal's over. You don't get 20-time points anymore, which is probably worth, by the way, about $50 an hour, $100 an hour. Now, by basic strategy and perfect play, you don't get that anymore. Now you're back to 1-time points, which that means the casino now has the edge on you again. But you're stuck $6,000. It's very hard for someone that came to the casino with $10,000 to say, the promotion's over. I lost $6,000. Let's go eat, sweetie. Very hard to do. But hey, that's the difference between a professional gambler and an advantage gambler and someone that wants to be an advantage gambler, going into that $4,000, blowing that, trying to chase their loss.
To that point, I'm going to use the P word real quick. Yep. I've had parlays where the first leg loses during, like, let's say a UFC card. It drives me nuts when I lose the first leg of a parlay. I will get into my car, I will go down the street, and I will redo that parlay. You'll
bet the second leg of the parlay with something else. Yeah, now you have 3 legs. Yeah, it's you're not alone though, John. It's most of the public. And listen, I've been there. I have been that person when I was a teenager. Betting like crazy and just trying to chase losses and stuff. And you learn from certain situations. And I don't want to say, but I probably had an allergy to money growing up back east, and I just wanted to always win, and I didn't want to be a loser for the day. It's a little bit of ego too with people; they don't want to be a loser.
100%. Yeah. And so, how do you? I know you say like you got smarter and stuff, but like, how do you? Is it just? It's almost like quitting, like smoking, right? Like you just have to quit cold turkey on those bad habits. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that what
tomorrow's another day. I know I'm going to have an edge on tomorrow's. Tomorrow's going to be another day with an edge. Why start pushing edges that you don't even know if they're edges? Now you're betting your own stuff. You're betting stuff with minute edges, small little edges. And now you're betting a giant amount of money on this when really you should be betting this a bigger amount. Not that you're going over that 2-3%, but you should be betting that full amount on something that is worth a lot more compared to betting. But just because you're betting something that probably has a no edge, probably has a negative edge. So
it becomes an emotional impulse buy, right?
Oh yeah. So let's get into number 5 here.
Okay, go for it.
This is an important one for me, and I kind of stress this all the time. You guys have all heard this before. Line shopping. You should have as many outs/sports books as you can handle. There will always be a little discrepancy in the numbers at each respectable book. I don't mean every single game, but you'll find a half a point there and there. Well, half points matter. So always check to make sure you're getting the best number available at any given time. And you should have all those square sports books, the ones that throw me out, like William Hill and Stations, and even the like the Coast properties, you should always have them in your repertoire because they're pushing those big favorites up a half a point here and there, and you're getting those extra half points. So here you go.
This is one that I have definitely learned so much on from doing the show with you in the last, whatever it's been, 5-6 months. Night and day difference. And I've heard you talk about it before, but it wasn't until I started to get the picture. But once we did that Atlantic City trip, I went to Atlantic City with you and I watched you do it in person, live, comparing all of those lines and how you would just lay off and have the discipline. It really is a big difference. Like, I know it sounds, I know I say that and you're probably like, yeah, dummy, that's what I've been saying. But sometimes it's like, we're visual, right? We need to see it, and seeing you apply that really changed things for me. And now I'm very mindful of it.
Cool. Yeah. I think you see me pass on a bet too. So if I'm supposed to lay 4 on a bet and the only thing is 4.5, even though I could buy it to -4, -20, I'm not going to lay 12 to 10 when I'm supposed to lay 11 to 10. It's a pass. Maybe the line will come back and you just go on to the next game, the next advantage.